host, Deidre Malone. Happy New Year. We are so glad to be back with you on the M1TV Network and wishing everyone a happy 2019. I was so glad to see the end of 2018. I don't know about you, but I'm very hopeful, very prayerful about 2019, looking forward to great things. And before we start this show, because we want to talk about a couple of things, I want to talk about the fact that Governor Haslam just gave clemency to Cyntoia Brown. It is something that a lot of us have been advocating for and wanting to occur, and so thrilled about that. I know some of our state legislators have been advocating for it, the Youth Council of the NAACP, and you've had people from all across the country advocating for her to be granted clemency. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about surviving R. Kelly. All right? We're also going to talk about the city council as well as instant runoff voting. I'm sure that some of you have seen some of the comments about me, my firm, and the role we played with the instant runoff voting referendum. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I've not talked to anyone about it, but we're going to talk about that on Dialogue with Deidre. But before we get started, I want to wish my good friend, Dr. Noel Hutchinson, a happy birthday. Doc, I see new texts on my face, Megan. I don't know what's going on with that, but anyway, wishing Doc a happy birthday, and I hope that a lot of you had an opportunity to see his show. Great show, and I'm happy that we're back on the air. Let's talk about the clemency. So glad that Cyntoia Brown was granted clemency. It's something that I know State Senator-elect, she'll be sworn in tomorrow, Ramesh Akbari has fought for, State Representative G.A. Hardaway and others. Ms. Brown is 30 years old and was convicted of first-degree murder when she was 16, and she was sentenced to life in prison. Governor Haslam last week gave clemency to a number of people, but no one as high profile as Ms. Brown, who has had celebrities advocating for her release, and so he made that decision and announced it today. So thank you, Governor Haslam. Someone who was basically in prison because someone was really trying to rape her, right? And she murdered him. She did kill him. But then she was given life in prison. So we are so glad that she'll have an opportunity to hopefully spend the rest of her life out and live a productive life. So happy for her. And I'm sure that the news will be covered with that today. I don't know about you, but I had an opportunity to watch the docuseries on surviving R. Kelly. And it looks like R. Kelly has responded to the docuseries. He's saying that he didn't see it, but that he's heard about it, and TMZ is reporting that he's disgusted by the gruesome details unearthed in the docuseries, and he's saying that it's not true. Really? If you watched it, if you watched the survivors of the circumstances around R. Kelly, the victim that said that she was in the tape with R. Kelly and the 14-year-old girl, the emotion that they felt as they talked about that experience. They weren't acting, it was real. To listen to the parents who have tried to contact their daughters, who some of them are still involved with R. Kelly and may have started being involved with him when they were 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, and how they have not had contact with them for years. It just breaks your heart. And I was so glad that the mom from Chicago was able to rescue her daughter, Dominique. Just going into that hotel room in LA and the look on her daughter's face when she saw her mother, it was heartbreaking. But for her mother to stay the course to try and get her daughter out of that unbearable situation where he has basically mind-washed these young women, promising them a life of, I can make you a singer, or that I love you, just a serious predator. Serious predator. And as someone who is from Chicago, okay, and who used to really, really enjoy listening to his music, I have to say that I'm glad that people are boycotting his concerts. The way that you affect change is through somebody's pocketbook, right? So don't buy his music. Don't go to his concerts. If you have the music like I do, okay, you may listen to it, you may not. But moving forward, because you know this is true, I looked at that docuseries and one of the jurors in the trial when he was acquitted, and everybody thought that he was going to go to jail. You listen to the reporters in the docuseries and they were like, what really happened? But one of the jurors, and he sounded like he might have been an immigrant to this country, but then became a citizen, and he talked about the reason why he voted to acquit was because of the way the women were dressed that came to court, to respond to the behavior of R. Kelly. That's the kind of jury that he had for that trial. Something's going to happen. God will make sure that the predator is taken care of. But I advise you to watch that docuseries. And I also advise women out there who are being, in a situation where they are being abused. Domestic abuse is real. I mean, it could be someone who is just telling you that you're stupid, you're not smart, that you can never do this, that your family doesn't love you, I'm the only one that loves you. It's a control thing. And if you're young and impressionable, you can believe that. And sometimes you don't have to be young. You can be older and just want somebody to love, and he's an abuser, or she's an abuser. And they can talk to you and control you that way. Think more of yourself. Know that God's given all of us an ability to do things and do great things. And so don't let anybody abuse you, physically or mentally. And that's all I'm going to say about Surviving R. Kelly. I'm glad I watched it, and I've had plenty of conversations with people over the weekend about it, and disgusting. Let me just say, it is, he's right. He should be disgusted, because it's true. And everybody that watched it, I'm sure, well, people who are not predators, let me just say that, should be disgusted. All right? The 111th General Assembly will take place, will open up tomorrow. And so proud that we have a number of great elected officials who will be sworn in tomorrow. Ramesh Ekberry, who's going to the Senate, Katrina Robinson, who's going to the Senate, Jesse Chisholm, who's going to the House, London Lamar, who's going to the House. Excited about this new fresh breath of energy that's going to the House and the Senate. And also glad to have our veterans going back. State Representative Karen Camper, we're so proud of her. She is the leader, the minority leader, the first Democratic woman to hold that spot. If I'm not mistaken, she might be the first African American to hold that spot. And so she's going to be whipping those Democrats into shape. Sad thing about it is, of course, Democrats don't have the majority in the House or in the Senate, but there's a lot to be said about being able to work across party lines to get legislation approved. It's going to be tough, but if anybody can do it, I know under the leadership of Karen Camper and under the leadership of Jeff Yarbrough in the Senate, I look forward to great things coming out of the 111th General Assembly of the state of Tennessee. And so, a couple of other things I want to talk to you about. NAACP, we have new officers in the NAACP Memphis branch specifically. I was reelected. I know some people who hate that, want me ousted, and I think that could happen if my executive committee wanted it to happen, but been elected for another 2-year term. Just continue to pray for our branch because we're doing great things. Excited about this group that's coming up, and we have new members. Some of our members that have been on the executive committee a while are still there, and we're excited about working together to make sure that we do everything within our mission to help people who need help in our community. We are working really hard to try and get our NAACP headquarters renovated. We're working with our housing committee because we believe that when people come into that headquarters, it should be a welcoming facility, and our goal is to lease some of that space to nonprofits in the community, and then have a community room where individuals who want to have meetings can come in and have meetings. So we're excited about that. We've set a timeline to try and make sure that we get that done at least by June of this year. So it's an aggressive timeline, but we're working on that. Our new officers will be sworn in on January the 24th at 5:30 at Mount Olive CME Church on Dr. King Drive. So it's open to the public. We hope you can come out and wish our new officers and our new executive committee well as they start their new term for 2 years. So excited about that. The City Council will meet tomorrow, and I guess they're going to try again to maybe appoint City Council representatives for District 1 and District 6 and at-large District 8-2. I'm not sure. I've not looked at the list of who the applicants are for District 6 and District 8-2. I know some of the people that have talked about seeking the appointment, and they're trying to get people to go down and support. But I can tell you this. That it is a shame that individuals in District 1 don't have someone representing them on the City Council during this crucial time. So, my hope is that they will come to a consensus tomorrow and make some decisions that are in the best interest of Memphis and the citizens in those districts. The NAACP will be watching, and based on what they do tomorrow, they can't come to consensus, you'll hear more about what we're going to do after that meeting. So, excited about it. Let's segue to another topic associated with the City Council. I think that most of you know that I own a PR, marketing, advertising, government relations firm, and it's called the Carter Malone Group. We do a lot of private sector business, and we also work with municipalities. And on various occasions, our firm will work with the city of Memphis on business. In one instance, our firm was approached and hired by the Memphis City Council. as a consultant to work with them on a referendum for the repeal of instant runoff voting, for the advancing of a potential third term for the city council, and also to eliminate runoff elections. Our firm was hired to advocate for, let me be clear, to advocate for the Memphis City Council's position. Okay? You have some people who are saying that the city of Memphis, the Memphis City Council spent money and they should have been unbiased, that they should have given, as a part of a public education campaign, you're supposed to share both sides. Okay? Well, I'm here to tell you, as someone who's been in public relations for more than 30 years, a client can hire you to advocate for their position. That's what the Memphis City Council did, and that's what our firm did. Okay? The Memphis City Council allocated almost $40,000 for this initiative. Not $200,000, but $40,000. What do we do with the $39,500 that was advocated? If you look at the Memphis City Council's financial disclosure, you clearly see how that money was spent. My firm didn't make any money off of the $39,500. In fact, my firm donated probably close to $5,000, if not more, in in-kind services. Why did we do that? Because I believed in those referendums. As the president and CEO of the firm, it's a private firm, I believed in that, and I could make that happen, and I did. You have some people who truly believe that we did something wrong, and we didn't. Clearly, the chairman of the Memphis City Council, Berlin Boyd, asked my firm to assist them, and we did. Is it true that the timeline shows that the Memphis City Council approved the dollars during early voting? Absolutely. And I'm on the record as saying that my firm advanced dollars for grassroots strategies, which we had poll workers at the polls. We advanced money for collateral material to have at the polls, for T-shirts. You know, we had other people making contributions for yard signs, and so just like any other campaign on a very tight budget, we did what we could. But let's talk about the Save Instant Runoff Voting group that wants to say that the City Council should have never hired a PR firm and should have never spent $39,500 to advocate their position. They're wrong. They're wrong. It is true that 10 years ago, the people voted for instant runoff voting. That's 10 years ago. It is true that it was never implemented here in Memphis. 10 years is a long time. In those 10 years, the Shelby County Election Commission could have purchased machines to allow the citizens of Memphis to work on, to try and implement instant runoff voting. They didn't do that. So the Memphis City Council was well within their right to say, this is not good for Memphis, okay? And let's go back and ask the citizens to take another look at that. But a lot of you were really upset about that, and I'm gonna go back to the instant runoff voting, financial disclosure. You've seen ours, rather the city of Memphis's, and I'm hoping that you pull the Save IRV Incorporated financial disclosure, and because we're gonna talk about that. 10 years ago, when the Charter Commission reviewed the charter and they put the resolution on the ballot for instant runoff voting, how was that advocated? By the Memphis City Council, right? So I'm sure that they put money into the coffers to advocate for the advancement of instant runoff voting. But some people have a problem 10 years later, few new people on the city council, some of them who were there maybe 10 years ago, but their positions have changed, advocating for the opposite 10 years ago. There's nothing wrong with that. People change their mind all the time. Now the real issue I think a lot of people had is with the city council advocating for a third term. And I think I've shared my position on this. As a former elected official, I believe in term limits. A lot of Democrats don't, because a lot of people believe that you can term limit an elected official because you can go in there in that booth and you can vote against them. And that will limit their term because they won't be reelected. But as someone who believes that term limits are important because we have so many great people who want to serve this community or serve a community and will never have an opportunity to serve if we die in those seats. I believe that term limits are so important to give other people with great ideas an opportunity to serve. So the question was, do you believe that 3 terms is too long? Well, let me just say this. No. Because I may be the greatest city council person and I have all these wonderful ideas that we couldn't implement in my first term, and we're getting there in my second term, and in my third term is when it's gonna happen. But if it doesn't happen in 3 terms, then you're out of luck. Memphis is the only municipality in Shelby County. I want y'all to hear this. The only municipality in Shelby County that has term limits. I was reading an article about the mayor of Arlington, Mike Westman, and Mike used to serve on the Shelby County School Board. Mike is the mayor of Arlington. Mike's running for a 3rd or 4th term. Myron Lowry, I love Myron. He's one of my closest friends. Myron served for 24 years on the Memphis City Council. Congressman Cohen served on the county commission. It wasn't called the county commission then. The quarterly court, I believe it was called. Served on the county commission. He served in the state legislature probably 20 plus years. How many terms has he been in Congress? 3, 4, is he going on, I don't know, 8 years? It's been a minute. But you had elected officials out there advocating against potentially 3 terms. I would ask people, and I did, take the current city council members out of the mix. And if you're thinking about this logically, no other elected body has term limits. And I realize people voted for this. I realize people voted for this 2 terms. But when you think about it logically, 3 terms isn't bad. It's just not. Realizing that you always have an opportunity to vote someone out of office. Okay? So I want to talk about that a bit. And runoff elections, you keep, the other side, the opposition, the Save Instant Runoff Voting people would say that they're very costly. We don't need runoff elections. They're very costly. A lot of people agree with that. I think during the campaign that, when you have $39,500 and you're fighting a campaign that has $200,000 plus, And the hype is all around, you know, the city council, not the issues, the city council members per se. Then I think a lot of people couldn't really see past the city council members and really deal with the issues. I've had people that after the election, when I sat down and talked to them, I was driving up to Nashville with a friend, and she said to me, she said, well, I voted to keep instant runoff voting. And then when I explained to her, she said, oh, I voted wrong. Because we had $39,500 to try and educate people, not $200,000. But let's talk about that $200,000. Okay? We want to talk about that. We want to talk about the fact that you do have some people, truly, you do have some people who actually, local people who actually contributed to the campaign. David Weatherspoon, $50. Fair vote, $500. You're going to hear fair vote again, but I just want you to remember $500. Christine Todd, $100. Voter choice. Wait a minute, let me go back to fair vote. Fair vote is located in Tacoma Park, Maryland. Not Memphis, not Shelby County, but Tacoma Park, Maryland. Christine Todd, $100. Voter choice, $1,500. Where is voter choice? Is it in Memphis and Shelby County? Is there a branch here? Voter choice, Boston, Massachusetts. James Gilliland, I know Attorney James Gilliland, fine guy. He donated, he's local, $200. Oh yeah, I'm going through it. Do you want to go through what the city council did, what our firm did? Let's talk about this. William Von Muffling. Mr. Muffling is from New York City. He's the president of Cyntoia Capital Management. You want to know how much he contributed to a local Memphis campaign to save instant runoff voting? Guess. You're not going to be able to guess, so let me just share it with you. $25,000. New York City, boo. Robert Wyatt, he's a local physician, $250. Jody Wilson, a local attorney, $250. Sam Bells, a local attorney, $250. Richard Kruger, don't know where Richard's from because they don't have that information, $300. Attorney Richard Glassman used to be a client of my firm, local attorney, $300. A few other people, $100. Bunch of attorneys, so Attorney Mulroy did well. Bunch of attorneys, $100, $200 here and there. But here we go. Let's get to the big dollars. Action Now Initiative. It's an advocacy organization. And $60,000. Now remember, the Memphis City Council advocated in advance $39,500, something like that. But you've got one group that gave $60,000 to a Memphis referendum initiative. And where are they based? Houston, Texas. U.S. term limits out of Washington, D.C., an advocacy organization. U.S. term limits gave $10,000 to this initiative. Action Now Initiative, you've already heard that before, that organization. I mentioned that just a little while ago out of Houston, Texas. They came back and guess how much they gave? An additional $40,000. So 60 and 40 is what? That's 100 right there, right? Wow. A lot of people interested in saving instant runoff voting in Memphis, then Save Instant Runoff Voting, the local nonprofit, they gave $5,000. Okay, so then let's talk about the expenditures, because folk want to talk about how we spent our money. The guy who I think handled PR for Save Instant Runoff Voting, he made about $4,000. That's Carlos Ocha. I think that's his name. Gil Hayes, he made about $4,400. And LaMichael Wilson, for the poll workers, made about, is that 70,000?
Trying to run for mayor.
Might have been 70 or 20, huh?
He trying to run for mayor.
Oh, LaMichael. Well, he might be able to get some money from Action Now Initiative. So LaMichael was trying to run for mayor, I was just told, so I'm sure you better watch out, because a lot of dark money is going to be coming into this local election. All right. Chisholm Strategies. I met, Ryan, when we went to Jackson, remember Mr. Chisholm we met with, right, the guy at Chisholm Strategies? He made $25,000 off of this for phone banking and digital ads. So, diamond printing. Oh, Harry racked up. Harry made almost $51,000. So, anyway, Center for Racial and Gender Equality canvassers out of Chicago. So, at least my poll workers and whatever canvassers we had were local. $22,000 to an organization based in Chicago to actually come down here and canvass. Interesting. Well, you know, it's some more here, but the point I'm trying to make is this. While a lot of people are concerned about how the city council spent their money with the Carter Malone group, and and it is taxpayer dollars. It was taxpayer dollars, and the city council has every right to spend those dollars to advocate for their position. But those of you who are not concerned should be about the dark money that came into Memphis to advocate for a local issue. Lord knows what we could have done if we had $200,000. We could have really, really educated people on how bad instant runoff voting is for a majority African-American city. Well, I just wanted to share that with you because I've been told, I've gotten a lot of phone calls. I've not really gone on Facebook to look at the post, but I understand that folk are talking about me and talking about me heavy. And what you need to understand about me is that's fine. It happens all the time. I'm good with it, as long as you know what you're talking about. And when you don't, shame on you. Really get an education. Okay? Especially if you're going to talk about something I'm doing. And I can always educate you. Well, I am so glad you've had an opportunity to join us today for Dialogue with Deidre on the M1TV Network. Please let us know what you think about our shows, Dialogue with Deidre, Black Thought. We are so excited, and we're looking forward to 2019 and the great shows that we're going to have for you this year. We're going to try and be consistent. Right now, we're going to do shows every Monday. Are we going to do a show next Monday? It's the holiday, Dr. King's holiday. No, it's the next one. It's the next one. It's on the 21st. So we'll be back next Monday, and we'll let you know what we're going to do on the holiday. So hope you have a great Monday and a great rest of your week. You've been watching Dialogue with Deidre. Let us know what you think about us. Go like the M1TV Network page if you haven't done that already. Go find us on YouTube and like our YouTube page, M1TV Network 2, if I'm not mistaken. Then please go and like all of the Dialogue with Deidre social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and I think that we have an Instagram page. I think we might. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks so much for being with us. Have a good one.